Welcome to the talk show Promising Bangladesh, sponsored by Crown Cement. And this is Sinha Sayeed anchoring this very talk show. Viewers, today we have invited two very important guests. One is Professor Forhad Hossain. He is one of the leading political analysts at this very moment in the talk show world. Other being Sharmeen Murshid, CEO of BROTEE, one of the leading NGOs in Bangladesh. Well, Mr. Forhad, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. How are you, Sinha?
I'm fine, okay. Well, you know very well that election in India took place and there is a very wonderful results to some extent, which is a kind of wonder to the ruling BJP, especially to Narendra Modi. What is your overall analysis about the election?
Thank you, Sinha. I'm very much happy that you invited me with Sharmeen Appa, my favorite personality, and I'd like to give a very short introduction about Appa. Sharmeen Appa is the daughter of my respected teacher, Professor Dr. Murshid, educationist, social reformer, political thinker, and so on, everything. And I'm fortunate enough to have the teaching from my teacher, Professor Murshid. And today, in this show, I'd like to pay my homage and tribute to my respected teacher. Okay, and you have asked me a very interesting question. Yesterday, election has been held in India. The prediction has been failed to be found. How? BJP has been disappointed, because the result BJP exactly has got through this election is not expectable to Modi, Prime Minister Modi. He expected more than 400 seats in Lok Sabha, as he has a man of high confidence, particularly to run the country for 2 decades as Prime Minister. It is a very important thing. But I think that personally, Prime Minister Modi has been disappointed to see this result. Now, I'd like to say, Congress was marginalized. Congress is found to be marginalized over 2 decades, you know. They do not have political footing. And not only that, I think that Rahul Gandhi's leadership was questioned for several times. And many political commentators exactly made the comment that he was not a man in a position exactly to run the traditional Indian National Congress, the party which led the independence of India, fighting the British Raj. But I think that there is a change we see in the election, and I expect that through this election, Rahul Gandhi has achieved the confidence of the people of his country. This is very important. Now, you know that Rahul Gandhi's membership was exactly snatched in so many ways, and many political commentators in India, I have witnessed so many talk show and interview several political personalities in India, that there was something or there is a personal enmity or animosity is vividly found between Narendra Modi and Rahul Gandhi. And Rahul Gandhi definitely was marginalized. Now he has got the political footing through this election, and I believe that Lok Sabha, after a long time, Lok Sabha will be exactly a debating house indeed, because of the majority Congress and its alliance got through this election. And we would like to see exactly healthy democratic discourses in Indian Lok Sabha. I think that political debate in the parliament and outside the parliament is very important for running the healthy democracy. It is very important. And I expect personally that Indian parliament will be an ornament of debate, this political discourse, and they will raise the problems exactly of India. India has been facing, and the advancement of India also, because you know that India is achieving a particular status to get the permanent membership in the Security Council of the United Nations Organization. It was the expectation of India for a long time. And you know, during the time of Nehru, Russia and Soviet Union. Soviet Union and America proposed India to accept the permanent membership of the in the Security Council. But Nehru exactly had a particular philosophy to follow the non-aligned policy, and that is why he did not want to have this sort of membership in the Security Council, having the veto power. But now India is feeling a certain kind of necessity because China is emerging in so way. China is a very strong nation and definitely is one of the leading nations of the world right now, having the veto power. China is a very convenient position, and that is why I think that Indian leadership particularly Indian leadership has already started feeling to have the necessity of veto power in the Security Council to make a balance in the House, so that India could be a country having the status of decision making.
Thank you very much. How are you, Sharmeen Murshid?
Ji.
This is the first time you appeared at the talk show.
With you.
Yeah. You had been long in the field of election monitoring.
Right.
And wide experience in this field. Professor Forhad made a very wonderful paint picture about the elections in India and what the next. What is your focus?
Well, first of all, what happens in India is of primary interest to Bangladesh. So we observe with much greater interest than just a dispassionate observer. So my first comment would be that the people of India have rejected the temple politics of Modi. So the Uttar Pradesh, we all know that if a party wins in Uttar Pradesh, it gets to win the parliament. But Uttar Pradesh, that actually brought Modi to power, actually dethroned him this time. So it's very interesting for me to observe that the question is of two kinds. Modi gave a very macho campaign. Very masculine, macho, loud, confident campaign. And he came out very strong. He said he would win 400 seats. The polls, the pre-election polls, also indicated a pretty good margin of win for the BJP. But it also concedes that these exit polls don't always these exit polls always do not predict correctly. Now, my first reaction was, I think we were very undecided whether Modi would win or not win. And I think that I personally am very relieved that he did not get an absolute majority. That's one. And he got a majority in alliance with other parties. Without that, he wouldn't also have a majority. So this is, the reverse opposite of expectation. So a couple of things. Why did this happen? I think India has proved again that people actually, if people are given the chance to vote freely and fairly, they make the right decision. If we look at what Modi was doing and the kinds of policies that he was pursuing, it was actually destroying India. It was breaking India apart in communally. It was, it's a nation of many cultures, and the cultures were made vulnerable. So one of the things that this election proves, that the people of India do not want a communal politics. If we look at how, if Modi, to make this point, that Modi in his present position will not be able to pursue the policies that he was pursuing. Now, how does that make it, how does that give us relief? I think above all because of his mutilating Indian civilization. I'm using this term, mutilating Indian civilization, his perverted politics, his destruction of the Muslim culture, which is an integral part of the Indian civilization, that directly affects us. Because we come from that same legacy. Bangladesh today is Bangladesh. But where are our roots? We come from that same legacy. It makes us vulnerable. It makes us insecure. What Modi did was he made Bangladesh very insecure. And I, as a citizen of Bangladesh, realized the more aggressive he would be in his country with respect to the Muslims, the greater would be the impact, negative impact of it in my own country. My country will be unstable. So therefore, for us, it's a blessing that he did not get this absolute majority. Now, the Congress had the defeat of the Congress, and I think two things we need to remind ourselves of two things. It's really a wonderful day that pluralism has come back to India, that there is competition, that there is strong political opposition, and Modi now faces a very strong opposition. And that's what makes healthy democracy, and that's what brings back our faith in the democratic process. And I think that India has been able to do what India has been able to do is perhaps because it's such a huge democracy, and it still continues to have an election commission that's strong. It continues to have a judiciary. You know, I have an example here. You might like to know about this. I was reading about this. And what does it say? It used the EVM, the electronic voting machine. And you know, in Bangladesh, we have been criticizing the EVM, and I continue to do so. Why? Because we do not have the trust in the system. Now, the EVM used in India proved that if it is applied properly, then the opposition does come to power. You know what I mean? Now, what had happened here? We rejected the EVM. I, as an observer, also criticized the use of EVM because our election commission is neither so strong nor the application of the electoral code of conduct so stringent. Look what happened there. In one of the, where was it? I think it was in Maharashtra. In Uttar Pradesh, you know, they had a recount of the votes. Was it in Uttar Pradesh? I'm sorry, I forget where. But in one of those areas, they had a recount, and you know how it was. The candidate that lost by one vote, Wakil, he requested the election returning officer for a recounting, and the returning officer immediately complied, and there was a recounting, and he said, please recount the postal votes. And he did a recount, and Wakil, instead of losing by one vote, he actually won by 100 votes. So then both the candidates said, okay, let's have a total re-evaluation of the votes. Now you tell me, this is very good democratic behavior. And what happened? Wakil turned out to be the winner. I want to make 2 points.
I'll come to you in the next phase. So
okay. All right.
Thank you very much. Viewers, we're going for a short break. Please stay connected. Thank you. We are back to the talk show Promise Bangladesh, sponsored by Crown Cement, and we are having talks with Professor Forhad Hossain and Sharmeen Murshid. Well, Mr. Forhad Hossain, you listen to what Sharmeen Murshid uttered about the election in India. Come to the point of Bangladesh.
Before coming
what is the impact of election in India on Bangladesh?
Okay, before coming to the context of Bangladesh, I'd like to point out one thing. India is a country having a particular characteristic, that is unity and diversity. Unity, territorial unity, diversity in culture, history, heritage, religion, languages, and etc., even climate. when it is too hot in Delhi, it is too cold in Simla, Kashmir, and Darjeeling, and etc., etc. I think that BJP government has some particular reservation exactly to accept this universal characteristic of India. This is very, very important. And you know that Narendra Modi ji exactly initiated to build up a temple in Ayodhya, the historical place, and he completed building this temple, particularly on a very historical place, that is Ayodhya. Ayodhya is a historical place in connection of religion, in connection of Lucknow's dynasty, ruling dynasty, and etc. And for beautiful culture, And I think that this building of temple does not carry particularly any message. Rather, it creates a certain kind of injury, particularly in the mind of the Muslim community. And still today, the Muslim community is the second largest community of India. So I think that the Muslim community has to revise their particular sentiment and exactly has taken a choice to select their government, and that is why I think that Narendra Modi has lost the vote of the second largest community. And the vote of the second largest community, that Muslim community, exactly do not go to the basket of Modi. And it exactly created a particular scenario in the election. I think that Narendra Modi in this aspect could realize exactly the importance of Bangladesh to settle down this. And that is why he settled down this, and he had to face the criticism in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha also. And ultimately the result is that 101 enclaves had been exactly offered to Bangladesh, and rest of the enclaves had been taken by India. And maritime boundary, it was a very difficult problem for India, and particularly for Bangladesh government to settle down it. And that is why both Bangladesh and India referred this matter to the International Court of Justice, and it had been settled down. The two important things had been settled down between the government of Sheikh Hasina of Bangladesh and the government of Narendra Modi. And what would be the deep impact, particularly the coming politics of Bangladesh, because of having a particular considerable majority by Congress and its alliance in the Lok Sabha? I don't expect so, since the foreign policy of India is static.
Thank you very much.
I agree with Dr. Forhad that the foreign policy does not change with change of governments, same as in the United States of America. Whether it's the Democrats or the Republicans, the war on Israel will continue. And similarly, India has certain policies towards Bangladesh. But what I'm hoping is that India be more receptive and sensitive to what is happening in Bangladesh. Look, India cannot afford to lose Bangladesh, but India is losing Bangladesh. India is losing the hearts of the people of Bangladesh. While we acknowledge with all sincerity what India did for Bangladesh in 1971, let's not forget it was in the interest of India to divide Pakistan, and we helped that to happen. And the fact that they supported us, we've been always very grateful. Now it's been 52 years. Why hasn't our water problems been resolved? We have 57 common rivers. India, we are India's nearest ally, and we'd like to believe that we are also India's closest, not only neighbor, but friend. And stakes are very high. India needs security for its northeast states. We need our waters to flow, and we need India to understand that. We need the borders to be more humanely addressed. India, BSF, is killing our people every single day. And the third thing that I think that's happening is India is not analyzing enough, and I say this not because I want to criticize India. I'm saying this because our relationship with India must improve. And India must be sensitive and change its attitude towards Bangladesh. Because even if India has a pro-Indian government or a government that is sympathetic to India, the hostility of the people will eventually affect India's relationship with Bangladesh. Now, look at Modi's government. What did they do? They've been famous for using abusive words about Bangladesh. When they talk about Assam and the people of the Bengalis of Assam, they say it's all Bangladeshis. They refer to us as, I don't want to quote that, but very derogatory terms they've used on Bangladesh. Modi's government. And Modi, if he is so close to our government, I don't understand this. Why? Because on the one hand, the priorities of my government has been or had been ensuring fair sharing of water. And our government did not succeed in achieving that. Now, if India, we understand why India is so sensitive about Bangladesh. But India needs to understand, if it wants to continue to have a healthy relationship with Bangladesh, Bangladesh may be small in geographical terms, but it's the 8th largest population in the world. And India's stakes are very high in terms of Bangladesh. And I do not say this as a arrogant threat. I say this, I think Indian policy has been wrong. And India must move away from this policy. Look, every time we talk about Bangladesh and India, we always seem to be on the receiving end. But what does the economy say? What is the reality? The reality is India exports $14 billion of goods to Bangladesh, and Bangladesh exports $1 billion. You know, and we have more than 500,000 workers, you know, upper-level workers in Bangladesh who earn a huge amount of money, and that money goes back to India. So India's economy, particularly West Bengal's economy, is highly, you know, dependent on a healthy relationship with Bangladesh. Look at what happened during COVID. The economy was broken. West Bengal was in shambles, and part of the reason was because Bangladesh, you know, wasn't helping their market. Now, why am I taking this opportunity to say this? Is because I think with the end of Modi, there can be a revisit. There can be a revisit and a beginning of looking at the whole situation differently to improve our relationships. You know, it's so important because if you do a study, recent study, IRI did a study, you know, of you know, the attitude of Bangladeshis, and they found a substantial, more than 57%, you know, hostile attitude to Indians. But this was not so. This was not so. The people of Bangladesh are very grateful, very appreciative, and they loved their neighbor. So what did India do to Bangladesh that the people of Bangladesh are so critical of India? This is what India must think about. Look at the cricket games. Over a cricket game, there was a huge, you know, conflict with India and Bangladesh, and a lot of criticism. There was even violence. Now, these are sad issues, and I think Bangladesh realizes that we have to live with India, and I think it's important that India realizes that it has to live with Bangladesh. Bangladesh is not Sikkim, it's not Nepal. It's, you know, 180, right?
Thank you very much. We will go for a short break and come again. Well, viewers, we're going for a short break. Please stay with us. Thank you. We are back to the talk show Promise Bangladesh, sponsored by Crown Cement, and we are having talks with Professor Forhad Hossain and Sharmeen Murshid. Well, Mr. Forhad Hossain, many things have been uttered here, and so many talks are on. Being a leader of Awami League, what is your understanding about the coming nexus between Awami League and BJP?
Sharmeen mentioned many things. Exactly the interaction of the governments between the two countries. But I'd like to go back to the history. Is there any government of Bangladesh declared crusade against Indian government? during the time of Ziaur Rahman and during the time of General Ershad? The blame is coming exactly on Awami League. Why? I would like to. I'd like to complain.
May I just correct one word?
Yes.
It's not blame. It's a question of analyzing the reality that we are in.
No.
It's not a question of blame.
So, let me tell you one thing. That people exactly are telling this issue that Awami League government is exactly strictly controlled by India, by Modi's government, etc., etc. But one thing, General Zia, who exactly came to power, showing the gun barrel, he visited India. He visited Indira Gandhi, the then Prime Minister of India, and then come to the context of General Ershad. General Ershad exactly taking the power in a very courtesy policy, in the same way, showing the barrel of gun, he visited India and talked to Indira Gandhi later on. And not only that, there was a very good relation between Ziaur Rahman and the government exactly came after Indira Gandhi, and his name, I'd like to...
Vivek
No, not Vivek. He was the Prime Minister. Prime Minister who was the Finance Minister in the cabinet of Jawaharlal Nehru, but exactly made the opposition, not Devgura, before Devgura.
Morarji Desai.
Morarji Desai. Yes. There was a very good tie between the government of Ziaur Rahman and Morarji Desai. And not only that, the persons who protested the killing of Bangabandhu exactly in Bangladesh, they were found to be resorted in India. And it was Indira Gandhi's time. But when Indira Gandhi lost the election, and this man exactly came to power. That means, I'd like to forget once again,
Morarji Desai.
Morarji Desai. So he was very hostile to those people exactly who protested the killing of Bangabandhu and took shelter in India. So why Awami League government should be criticized in this way? India is a vast and giant, neighbor. It is a reality. India is a country producing many things. India is far advanced in agricultural productions, which belong to the daily necessities. We have to import many things, but we are not in a position to produce many things exactly to decline the dependence of India. We are not in a position like this. And that is why India is taking the privilege exactly to make a very imbalanced trade volume between Bangladesh and India. India is a big country. The production is very big. The economy is very big. So, what can be done exactly for the people of Bangladesh? Because we are the small nation, our production capacity is not so exactly to adjust with Indian production capacity. This is very important. So, we have to, is there any government? Yes, suppose the Awami League government has lost the election, another government has come to power. Is the possible of that government exactly to maintain a hostile relation with India? It is not possible. Reality is not that. International interaction and international policy, international relation has been changed, and it is dramatically being changed every day. And you have to address the changed policy. Why? We have got the enclave, as I have told you, we have solved the enclaves problem. We have got major share of the enclaves. Is it not the achievement of Awami League government? We have settled down the maritime boundary with India. Is it not the achievement? Which is the government exactly did it in the previous days? No, they can't do it at all. And not only that, they cannot exactly, I would like to give credit to my leader, Sheikh Hasina, the present Prime Minister, who is continuing the power at a stretch for 15 years. She is capable and courageous enough exactly to take seat before any Indian Prime Minister to bargain exactly on her interest, on the interest of her nation, on the interest of her country. Is there any president like this? I had seen the picture of General Zia and General Ershad, who exactly taking seat beside Indira Gandhi. They were found to be squeezed. They were not in a position to exactly make the debate valiantly for the interest of their country, for the interest of Bangladesh. It is Sheikh Hasina did it. We have to admit it, definitely.
General Zia, to be fair, we must always give the devil its due. General Zia had successfully negotiated water sharing for 5 years.
Is there
and yes.
No.
Yes.
How?
How? That was
it was successfully done by Abdul Samad Azad when he was the foreign minister. He negotiated this
That was such
matter
a-
with Jyoti Bose because West Bengal is our next door neighbor and we have got the very, very vital connections of the rivers with West Bengal. And Samad Azad had a very historical background of
Then tell me, Dr.
left
Farhad,
politics.
Then
and
tell
that
me
is
why
why
are we in such
Let
a
me
dire
finish, Appa.
state?
Let me finish.
Why are we in such a dire
No, no,
state? If we have done it,
I
then
would
why
like
are
to-
we in such
I'd
a
like to
dire state
complete
with
my
our
sentence,
rivers?
Appa. I'd like to complete my sentence. You know, Samad Azad had a background of left politics and he had a very good relation with Jyoti Bose because Jyoti Bose has got the same had the same political background of leftism, you know, and that is why there was a good matching. And Samad Azad successfully dealt this matter and it was a very smooth sharing of water during the time of Sheikh Hasina in the first government in 1996. Definitely, it was not General Zia. General Zia uttered one thing. Quote, I'd like to solve the problem of water by bullet. Was it a very realistic word?
By what?
By bullet. Was it a realistic?
I'm not aware
no,
of this. I
he
can't
used,
comment.
No.
I'm
he
not
used,
aware of this.
He used Maulana Abdul Halim Khan Bhashani exactly to launch a demonstration against India because he was not in a capacity exactly to deal this water problem with India, and that is why he used a leader exactly respected by almost all the people, that is Maulana Bhashani. Maulana Bhashani launched a strong demonstration
Well,
for sharing.
I will come to you, please. Please. You go on.
No, well, Dr. Farhad has gone into a history that if we need to discuss that, then we'll have to go into a debate which you will not really be able to cope. So what I would like to say is that if we have been so successful, then we would not have been in the situation we are in. We have to accept that. We have to admit that. Today, the people of Bangladesh, the Tista River is almost dead. And now China offers us to make to conserve water. They agreed to help us. Suddenly India comes forward and says, no, we will help you. Fine, if India can help us, China can help us. But my question is, Dr. Farhad, no matter what, my lifeline is the rivers. And my lifeline is being destroyed. I have to, India has to take responsibility for that. India has to take responsibility for that.
I have to mention one thing, the nature of the government of India. Indian government is a federal government, you know. Federal government
I understand, but don't give me,
problems.
Please don't give me that contradiction. Look, I tell you one thing, as a Bangladeshi, Dr. Farhad, as a Bangladeshi, I'm not interested in whether this is a problem of, now let me say this to you.
Manmohan Singh was prepared, Manmohan Singh was prepared to share the water properly.
It didn't happen.
But it was.
I know.
It was the impediment created by Mamata Banerjee, the Chief Minister of West Bengal. Because federal government has to do something, particularly it has to take the concern of the state's government.
You are giving an explanation.
Federal government.
Well, Mr. Farhad,
You are
I will
giving
come
an
to you.
explanation
Please,
that does
you
not
go on,
serve my purpose. You are giving me an explanation that does not serve my purpose. Whether it is Mamata, whether it is federal, I don't care. My water is being taken away from me, and that is important. Now, whether if India considers Bangladesh to be its dear friend, then India has to resolve this problem with the federal and the local. And why? How can we deal with it? We are an independent nation.
So many political parties in India.
We will deal with the federal government.
So many political parties in India. State government is not in the line of the federal government, and there is a disparity of. The difference of opinion between the state government and the federal government.
And the same
and the problem is that
right, and
Indian federal government is not in a position exactly to negotiate this matter by the single own decision.
Dr. Farhad, the same problem remains in India between states. You know that. The river water sharing problem is also interstate. Now, you know, I simply think in a straight line. I have this problem, India has to resolve this problem. And how is India going to do it? Are we going to negotiate with Mamata? Is that practical? No, that's not practical, because we have to negotiate from state to state on a state-to-state basis. And Mamata is going to say, no, I'm not going to give a drop of water. Then the federal government of India has to sit with Mamata and has to find an answer.
There is a geographical problem also.
No.
You know that India's location
I draw your attention.
Yes.
in the immediate past parliament,
Right.
there is a consensus resolution.
Right.
All the political parties
Agreed.
agreed to solve the problem,
Yeah.
and including Mamata's Trinamool Congress.
Right.
So all the political party members were there.
That was
Now
during
it is-
Manmohan.
No, it is the Modi government.
Oh,
Last
previous government.
immediate past
Previous
government.
parliament.
So already they made a national consensus on the issue. Now it is called Indian approach to Bangladesh on Tista. And their foreign secretary visited Bangladesh and talked to the minister, our minister, and said we are interested in the matter. So we would like to stand by Tista project. China is ready, India is ready. Question is that at this very moment, India with all its power in hands now, ready, China is ready. Question is that how Bangladesh can settle the matter having the two giants beside it.
With China and India.
Yeah.
Well, if I were to be honest, probably, what I would say would not go very well. But honestly speaking, why did India take so long to make this offer? Don't they know we are suffering? Doesn't India know? Why did it take so long to offer? Why did it take so long to make this offer? And why did it make the offer after China? So you see, the answer is,
yes.
The answer is, Dr. Forhad, we are, stuck in a geopolitical competition. Bangladesh is very strategically located right now. And we are the connection. For India, we are the connection between the south and the east. For China, for the United States of America and for India, never has Bangladesh been so important to all these big powers as today. One, because of the Bay of Bengal. Two, because of the resources that we potentially have in the Bay of Bengal. Wait and watch. When we will discover and extract our oil and our gas, like Myanmar is doing and like India is doing, wait and watch. Watch and see how America behaves with us, how India behaves with us, and what Myanmar does. Dr. Forhad, the moment you discover your resources, this geopolitical competition is going to become even much more difficult. It's going to become even more difficult.
I'd like to take the reference from your speech. You know that there is two giants in Asia.
Yeah.
One is the China and another is India.
Right.
And it is really tough for the government of Bangladesh exactly to match with these two giant powers. And that is Bangladesh government is under speculation in a very positive manner to settle this matter, exactly to deal with China and India in a very equal status, or particularly in a very pragmatic way. You know that yes, Bangladesh has become a very, very important land in the context of present geopolitical scenario.
Right.
You know that America has already passed Burma Act in 2022, and after passing this act in the American Senate, there is a particular concern we have found for America on Burma, and there is also a competition exactly between China and India. And in a sense, China and India, in one point, is agreed. China agreed what point? China and India, both the country, exactly, do not want to see American influence in Myanmar. Americans' objective is very clear. United States of America wants to install military basement in the territory of Myanmar, which will be catastrophic, particularly in South Asia, and which will exactly bring about a particular change, which might not be happy for Bangladesh or any other Asian countries. And that is why Bangladesh, under the leadership of Sheikh Hasina, is taking a very serious concern to patch up this matter, which is very much apparent and which is emerging right now.
Well, I don't deny the situation is very complex, and I'm not an expert on regional, international politics. But a wise government, I think our government is trying to sort of do a balancing act. The temperament, for Bangladesh, we will tend to, go for those who offer us the best conditions, those who can give us our security, those who can protect us, those who will be able to, provide us with our needs. Now, if that is going to be India, it's not going to be just India, it's not going to be just China, it's not going to be just America.
In a broader sense, you know that America is leaving no stone unturned to exactly make absolute control over Indian Ocean, over Bay of Bengal, as you have mentioned it. And here lies the competition of the giant powers of the world right now, America, China and India.
But right now America has a trust deficit, a serious trust deficit.
Yes.
As a result of Palestine, there are not many nations in the world.
You uttered the right word, trust deficit, and thank you very much.
Yes.
Sharmeen
Murshid,
and thank you very much, Professor Forhad. We are about to end this talk show. Well, viewers, we're going to end this talk show, and before ending this talk show, as usual, I have to summarize what the two speakers explained, uttered, and voiced here. From their own standpoints, they are very much patriot in true sense, and they love the country, and they feel that Bangladesh should go ahead. At the same time, our topics moves around India, and both of them, in a very convincing manner, voiced the elections in India is an eye-opener, even to the people of Bangladesh as well to the people of India itself. And what is the more important is that what happens in India, to some extent, it is a bolt from the blue for Narendra Modi, the persons who behaved otherwise, who voiced otherwise, who treated Bangladesh otherwise. And it is also a message to the BJP government. The Muslims in India should not be treated in such inhuman mood and mode. And reply definitely came from the electorate. At the same time, message to the people of Bangladesh, and especially to the party in power. The very nexus between BJP and Awami League is well understood. And what BJP under the leadership of Modi did during our elections, and what they openly said, it is known to all. And it is believed by the people in Bangladesh that India in many ways helping this government ethically or unethically. And that is very shocking to the people of Bangladesh, for as understood by other groups. But as a whole, the election in India and the result came from the polling booths carries the message. India should behave like India, based on the very policy of secularism, the policy on which India is standing. The deviation from these policies made the BJP government very much cornered at this very moment. And it is believed the coalition government, which is going to be formed very soon, may be a challenging one for BJP. We don't know what will happen, but we believe the political parties in Bangladesh should have listened from this very election. And they should try the level-based to have understanding with both Congress and BJP. Whether they will be in position or not, that is up to them. But the feelings of these two giant speakers coincide at one point, that is, Bangladesh, as a sovereign country, definitely will go for a long way. And let us pray to Almighty Allah for our survival, existence, and advancement. And thank you very much. We'll meet you again in the next talk show.